Where are you stubborn? And in which ways are you immovable? Where are you ferociously loyal? My question for you is, where do you have Taurus in your chart? Everybody has all 12 signs in their chart. And if you've been studying with me, you know that we don't just look at the sun sign here, but we look at the entire natal chart. So it's your job to figure out where you have Taurus in your natal chart by house and by planets. It is in that arena of your life by house. Each house stands for a part of your life that you will operate a little bit like a Taurus. So today we're going to have so much fun explaining and diving deep into Taurus energy. So I would like for you to listen to this video in two different ways. One, if you're involved with a Taurus and you love a Taurus, or if your romantic interest is a Taurus, or if you have a crush on a Taurus, I will be describing them. And we're going to talk about what it's like dating a Taurus, the good and the challenging and the so-so. And if your Taurus broke up with you, why did that most likely happen? And if you are just so tired of your Taurus and you're trying to get out of this relationship and you're like, how can I get rid of my Taurus? Well, I'm going to spill the beans in this video for you. Also, I want you to take a look at this part of your life, because wherever you have Taurus energy, this is where you are pragmatic and steady, maybe even a little routine and predictable, maybe stuck in the mud. We're going to go deep into it. So if you have your sun, your moon, your rising, your Mercury, your Mars or Venus, or maybe even Jupiter, or if you have more than 3 planets, especially personal planets in any sign packed in the second house. So if you have a lot of planets in the second house, you're probably really going to be able to relate to this video yourself. Now, if you have no planets in Taurus, like me, but you have planets in the second house, or you even have your south node in Taurus or your north node in Taurus, this video is also for you. If you have your south node in Taurus, this is the energy in which you were born with, already having mastered. If you have your north node in Taurus, well, this is the energy that you need to learn in this lifetime and learn how to embrace it. This energy is like your North Star if it is your north node. What is so wonderful about dating a Taurus? What is so wonderful about this particular part of your own chart? You know the old adage that says opposites attract? Well, with Taurus, it's more like attracts like. They like their love interest to have similar values and tastes and interests and hobbies and friendships. They like to partner with the same thing. So if you meet a Taurus and you like them, figure out what they like and like that same thing, or like something similar with just a dash of difference. Right now, I'm reading the novel Where the Crawdads Sing. If I was a Taurus, if I was telling you about, I'm reading this great book Where the Crawdads Sing. It's so good. That's my favorite book too. I read that too. I absolutely loved it. They really, really jive with the person who reads the same books and loves the same music and loves the same hikes. And they like to bond with people that have common interests. And when you're completely opposite with your Taurus, it puts so much stress on their Venus planet. Venus likes camaraderie, friendship, and no conflict. If you are a high Venetian, a person with a lot of Libra or Taurus in your chart, you really struggle with having conflict in your life. Opposite energies create a subconscious statement that says, wow, we're really different from one another. And for a Taurus, wah, wah. So if you're wanting to date a Taurus, you really need to come across as if you are just this safe, steady, stable person that's not going to create a need for like electric shock therapy on a daily basis. You're going to find this part of yourself, and Tauruses in general, are people who understand how to be really responsible and reliable and even-keeled. They're usually not really prickly. They have a cool demeanor and a calm energy energy, and calm energy likes calm waters. So they like a stillness of the air, and they like to create beauty, peace, love, and harmony. And so you'll see that they kind of move slowly and they move sensually. And wherever you have this in your chart, this is where you will like move slower, where you will have a grace about you, a Venus quality about you. Tauruses can be very, very reliable, so they can be counted on to set up a calm and predictable routine. You can really count on your Taurus to be tried and true, to be who they say they are, and to show up the way they said they would show up. Most Tauruses operate from this deep sense of integrity inside of them. They want to be exactly who they say they are, and they like being quite kind and helpful to others. So it's quite lovely to be involved with a healthy Taurus. Another interesting thing about dating a Taurus, and you can tell me if you think this is positive or negative, Tauruses they have a very conventional approach to life, and they are kind of conformists. If they like you, they will try to indoctrinate you and get you to conform to their way of life. And so if they're trying to do that, teaching you about whatever it is that they like about their life, they're trying to seduce you to join them in their world. And Tauruses want to follow the rules. So if you want somebody who really does follow the rules, a Taurus is for you. And this is where you will want to follow the rules. Like, these are the people that will return the money that they found in the lost wallet when nobody's looking, rather than just taking the money. Taurus prides themselves on being pragmatic and quite sensible. I also think you're going to really like about Tauruses is that they can build something. I mean, these are like the Lego builders, okay? You're going to actually end up with the house that is in the picture on the box of the Legos with your Taurus friend. But they're very solid and strong people. They rarely leave things done halfway. They're not the half-assers of the zodiac. They also have very respectful boundaries, and you might really love that, especially if that's important to you. Tauruses usually do not have bad boundaries, and it might actually be quite delightful being involved with somebody who obliges you or accommodates you inside all those boundaries. They don't steamroll. I mean, if you ask them, please don't use my toothbrush, they'd be like, okay, I didn't want to anyway. And you're thinking, well, my last boyfriend did. Bleh. Also, I would say one of the loveliest things about a Taurus is go take a walk with them through nature. They can actually show you the poetry that lives inside of the land. They will show you beaver dens that you didn't even know existed. They will find the raccoon hideouts. They will show you the riverbeds and how they flow. They will teach you all about nature, everything you didn't even know before you met your Taurus. You might see nature for the very first time when you look at it through their eyes, because they are fascinated and fixated and can sort of see the most intricate details of Mother Nature. It's beautiful. So wherever you have Taurus in your chart, try to incorporate nature into that part of your life. Leave a comment below and let me know, where do you have Taurus in your chart? If you like them, ask them out. You ask them out. We could be dead before they ask us out on a first date. Just put them out of their misery. You ask them out. Ask them for a casual date to a really delicious casual joint. The best Tuesday tacos in town. Like, have you tried these amazing tacos? They have Taco Tuesday. Let's go sometime. Or the best mochas at a quaint Parisian cafe somewhere. Get things launched. Light a little fire under the bull's little butt. I also want to say, though, that Tauruses do come with a lot of judgment. Ooh, they can really oftentimes complain about other people and how other people are going about doing things, because they're very loyal to their own methodologies, ideologies, beliefs, pragmatics. They really do think their way is the best way. And they can't really understand why other people do things so differently. And they oftentimes complain about modern times, like drivers these days, and the phone is just so complicated. And, oh, I can't believe these young kids and the music they're listening to. And what are those clothes they're wearing? I mean, it's just complaints about basically change. So if you have a Taurus in your life and they're not doing that, go check and see if they've got Aquarius prominently in their chart. And I bet you they do, or even Gemini, because Geminis and Aquarians really embrace future trends, also Pisces. So that will diminish the judgment piece a little bit in your Taurus. So tell me what your Taurus has. And by the way, you guys, if you haven't already gotten a lover's report or the lover's package or the soulmates package in my store yet, go check them out. They're so good. You can just hit the shop tab at soulnavigation.com and go check out all my reports. They're just so wonderful. If you want to get to know yourself more deeply, you could buy the Astro Gold Package or the starter package. If you want to get to know your lover better, you could do the soulmates package. They're just really, really good. I can't recommend them enough. Go check them out in my shop. I want to say that Tauruses have like a herd mentality. They are sort of like the shepherds of the zodiac, and they have tribal thinking or consensus thinking, where their way, like I said before, has been passed down onto them, and it is tried and true, and it's true blue. And so they become very loyal to their pack, to their tribe, to their clan, to their group, to the people that taught them, mentored them, passed things down to them, to the beliefs that they inherited. And so they can really actually feel threatened by eccentricities of modern life because it threatens their legacy and where they came from. They are also very jealous. Because they're so territorial, there is a little bit of a jealousy in them. And it can be a jealousy like as much as Cancer or Scorpio, and even more so. And they can end up treating people like possessions. You know, I own you, you're mine. This is where I really want you to go watch my Taurus rising video. Don't even look in another direction. If you're with your Taurus, be consumed by your Taurus. Tauruses can be so routined that they even stop going out. They can become so addicted to their routine, their television shows, and eventually they can give up. If they go really unhealthy, they can become so hermetic in their system, in their routine, that they give up their entire social life by just staying in night after night after night. And for a lot of other signs, this is going to become very, very boring. Oh my God, another night of the same food, the same television show, the same position, the same, everything's the same. You might see that Tauruses start to lose their sense of adventure. They would rather play it safe than take the risk that adventures require of them, meeting new people, doing new things, trying on new food, new music, a new place to go out and socialize. They just could end up losing their sense of adventure. And so they lose all spontaneity. They have to have things succinctly planned out. And it can drive other signs into this like sheer madness. Like, oh my God, I'm so bored. I got to get out of here. The other signs can feel like they're in Taurus's jail, and it might be beautiful and even rich and fancy because they make a lot of money usually. They like beautiful things. They like creature comforts. So it could feel like you're, a bird trapped in a golden cage. Can you relate to this? Have you been involved with the Taurus? Tell me your Taurus stories, would you, in the comments below, because everybody learns so much when you tell us your Taurus stories. And wherever you have this in your own chart, this is where you can stop growing, stop taking risks, stop taking on new challenges. This is where you can shrink in a little bit out of loyalty, out of integrity. It is usually born out of a virtue, but still it can sabotage the happiness in your life. So do you have this in a planet? What house do you have this in? And can you relate to this part of your life being very Taurian? Do you just like to stick to the old-fashioned trusty ways? I'll say because of this, they can really miss out on opportunities in life, great opportunities in life that are presented to them. And they can also do this with their emotions, where they just clutch onto their emotions and they have the one emotion and they just replay that one emotion or two emotions. And so they're really locked into their feelings, and they are so cautious and calculated and careful about revealing them. They oftentimes can't connect at the deeper level. Venus doesn't want to take them into the guts and the gore and the glory, if you will, because I think there's glory in the guts, and it can keep things very superficial. So the other person can feel like they are with this complete hedonist who just wants to live comfortably with a whole lot of good food and sex, work their regular job without doing too much more, having a life that requires very much risk or change or versatility. Also, I will tell you, Tauruses have a super long fuse. They have a lot of patience, but they have an explosive temper, and they can say really mean things. Have you ever been at the other end of a Taurus's temper? I mean, they have a 2-year-old temper tantrum. They can literally burn down the barn. And I think they have just such pent up hurt and pain and suffering and agony and feelings that they haven't been in touch with, that when it finally does get triggered, it blows like a gasket, like a grenade going off. And they can be quite mean, and they can say absolutely horrifying things, only to tell you the next day, I didn't really mean it, or to not speak at all because they have so much regret and just walk out the door and act as if everything's normal. Hey, what time's dinner? What? Do you know you just called me last night? I don't think so. I'm not cooking. I don't know. Whatever you're cooking, whatever you're buying. Yeah, it's called DoorDash, dude. I don't mean to just say it, that it's men, because it's women too. Believe me, it's women too. I've experienced both kinds of Tauruses, but they can be really destructive when they're angry, and then they can be very passive aggressive in their next day like this, and then they're like mad at you for what they said, and then they never talk to you again for what they did. It's like, what? Wait a minute, you're the one that said those mean things, and now you're not speaking to me? I wonder if they're just embarrassed. Why is that, Taurus? But there is a destructiveness when they're angry, when they can't hold their placid, calm, steady. I think they're horrified at their own selves. I think they scare themselves, truthfully. So how to break up with a Taurus? Well, you have to do this very slowly, and I would say over a period of time. So you have to plot your getaway for probably a 3-month stint. I wouldn't break up with your Taurus in a rash, quick way. I really wouldn't. First of all, they won't believe you and they won't leave you. And it's really rare for a Taurus to break up with another person. They have an enormous amount of stamina to hang in there. If a Taurus wants to leave you, they usually just sort of drift away and stop calling. They don't usually have a big conversation about it. And they do it in a very Venus type of way. Like, oh, my work has me really busy working late at nights. You know, they just become less available. But it's just basically like a long ghosting you. Like they're just slipping out, not coming back. They stop being their word. That's really rare. You said you were going to be home at 7. Yeah, you know, I was working late. And you're like, that's weird. You never worked late for 20 years. Now you're working late. You guys have to tell me if you've experienced this with Taurus. And you guys have to remember that if you're a Taurus, you probably have a lot of Aries and a lot of Gemini in your chart. And that's going to make things very, very differently. In this video, I'm really talking just about Taurus energy. It is very rare for a Taurus to leave. It is very rare. So even if the relationship has completely fallen apart, as long as they are getting fed, having sex, and there is a television plugged into the wall and a comfortable chair to fall asleep in, they may never leave, truthfully. So I would say the first step in dumping your Taurus is stop cooking delicious food. Actually, stop cooking food. No more warm, hot meals here, honey. But don't tell them, just don't do it. And then start falling asleep on the couch, right? And then I just want you to have total amnesia about sex. Like, sex what? What? Oh, I'm not interested. So lose your interest in sex altogether. So after there's no food to eat, now there's no sex to have. You have starved them both physically and calorically. I will say, if you starve them emotionally, they're not going to really feel it. They won't really notice that. But if you stop feeding them and you stop having sex with them and you stop sleeping with them, they are going to notice. Okay, then what you do is you start inviting brand new friends over, friends that are really different from the two of you, okay? So you invite your eccentric friends over, and the friends that, I don't know, that are just totally opposite from your Taurus. So if your Taurus is like just a clean-cut, regular-looking guy or girl, you would bring over the total antithesis of that. Like, my new friend Portia is over tonight. Oh, and then I just want you to giggle and laugh all night with Portia in front of your romantic interest. They will hate that. They'll be like, oh my God, I got to get out of here. Even my own home is not like comfortable anymore. So making their home uncomfortable. If they're still hanging in there, which I would be shocked if they are, they're going to start hate coming home, but they'll still come home. Then what you do is you have these big ideas about traveling and going to places and planning a month-long trip with places that they have never been before. Like, oh my gosh, first we're going to go to Portugal, then we're going to go to Morocco, and then we're going to go to the museums, and then we're going to go to this mausoleum, and then we're going to go to this historical site, and then what we're going to do, and I planned the whole thing. Yeah, they were going to think you're crazy. They're not going to want to go. They can't leave their job. They can't leave their pets. They can't leave their home. They can't leave their television in their chair for that long, going and doing brand new things with your eccentric friends or not, or they're afraid you're going to meet eccentric friends along the way and go and do your traveling program that has 1,000 new risks, 1,000 new routines a day. You will overload them. Basically, make their life uncomfortable. I know, it's so evil. I know. By the way, I don't really recommend doing this. I'm just really saying this like to prove a point. Fill their life with spontaneous new adventures, new foods, new friends, new drink, new travels, everything new each and every day. Be different. Wear your hair blue and then wear your hair purple and then right? They're going to feel like we're opposites. Oh, this is never going to work. You're nothing like me. And then you say to them, you just might be a little bit happier if you go find somebody who you have more in common with. Yeah, you're right. And then bye-bye. Yeah. But if you got dumped by a Taurus, which is a pretty rare thing, you probably really, 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 really pissed them off. Something about their beliefs, you did not align with their beliefs in some way, or what they value, or you put them down, or you made them feel like a fool to you. You made them lose pride. First of all, you can figure out what you did to make them so angry, because Tauruses have a very hard time forgiving. And if you're with a Taurus that has an easy time forgiving, they must have a lot of Gemini in their chart. They've got to. Or they have Aquarius in their chart, or Sagittarius somewhere, but probably Gemini. So the other thing is you probably started to get too independent from them and you stopped including them in some way. They don't like that. They're very territorial. So if you didn't invite them to the party or you overlooked them, they don't like that. They don't like that. They like doing things together and being together, and they like bonding. And so did you stop bonding? Did you stop doing things together? Did you stop inviting them? Did you stop creating the bond? Yeah. You also probably became too critical of them being stuck in a rut. And maybe you have talked about them being chronically loyal and stuck in their own routine. And you probably have asked them to try to change something about themselves that they don't want to change, nor do they feel they should change. After you nag a Taurus long enough about changing, they get sick and tired of that, because I'm going to tell you right now, Tauruses don't change. Taurus is the least likely sign to change. Yeah, they don't change. The other thing, Tauruses are very, very similar to Cancer, where they have very, very strong feelings and opinions about their family, and they are allowed to hate their family. Let me tell you, they might hate their family, but you're not. You're not allowed to hate their family. So you will probably notice that they don't have a very realistic concept of their family. And if they do, you're not allowed to. Never say so. If you don't get along with their family and they do, it's probably not going to work out, because they are loyal to their family. This was my Taurus video. I cannot wait to read your comments and find out about where you have Taurus in your chart, how you relate to this video. If you do, if you've been involved with a Taurus, have you been dumped by a Taurus? Leave me in the comments below all your thoughts. And I also hope that you'll go watch my whole Taurus playlist and tell me what you feel about that. And I hope you love learning astrology with me on my YouTube channel. And if you've joined my channel and you're a super supporter or a superstar supporter, I am having a free virtual astro party that I hope you've already gotten your ticket for. You can go find it in the shop tab, and I can't wait to see your beautiful face. All right, my friends, from my home here in Seattle to wherever you are at in the world, I wish you the very, very best. Take good care.